Okay. Okay. So we're going to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. And we're starting with text 144.
Yes.
Param Purusharth Sai Prema Mahadhan Krishnere Madhurya Rasa Karaya Aswadhan. Translation. Love of Godhead is so exalted that it is considered to be the 5th goal of human life. By awakening one's love of Godhead, one can attain the platform of conjugal love, tasting it even during the present span of life. So it's not like we have to give up this body to taste that. So it's definitely possible to attain the love of Godhead and attain the platform of conjugal love, madhurya ras, even in this life. So sometimes we say, oh, I don't know how many lifetimes we have to wait. Well, we may have to, but it's not necessary. I remember one time my mother said to her Guru Maharaj, that I don't know how many lifetimes I'll have to wait. And he got very angry. He said, why not this lifetime? Why do you say that? So the point is, it is possible. If we are sincere enough, we work hard enough, it is possible. So let's read the purport and then we can discuss this more.
I will read it, Prabhuji, the first
Go ahead,
one.
Mataji.
The Mayavadi philosophers consider the highest goal of perfection to be liberation, mukti, which is the 4th perfectional platform. Generally, people are aware of 4 principal goals of life: religiosity, dharma, economic development, arth, sense gratification, Kaam, and ultimately liberation, moksha. But devotional service is situated on the platform above liberation. In other words, when one is actually liberated, mukt, he can understand the meaning of love of Godhead, Krishna Prem. While teaching Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stated, Koti Mukta Madhye Durlabh Eka Krishna Bhakta. Koti Mukta Madhye Durlabh Eka Krishna Bhakta. Out of millions of liberated persons, one may become a devotee of Lord Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. So the purport Srila Prabhupada is talking about the 4 commonly known goals of perfection, or purusharth as they say in Sanskrit, which is dharm, religiosity, arth, economic development, Kaam, sense gratification, and liberation, which is moksha. But he's saying that the devotional service is above even the liberation. So it's above the 4 principal goals of life. And then he says, when one is actually liberated, he can understand the meaning of love of God. So actually there is a very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita. I think it's 1854. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. So he's saying that when we get to the Brahmabhuta platform, the liberated stage, then we're going to start pure devotional service. The same thing is being said here, that you have to be on that platform to be able to get the pure devotional service of the Lord. But it is very, very difficult. Koti mukta madhye durlabh ek Krishna bhakta. Out of millions of liberated persons, one may become Krishna bhakta. So once again, because 7:19, Krishna says, Bahunam janunamante jnanavan mam prapadhite. Vasudeva sarvamati samahatma sudulabha. Very rare. Even among the jnanis to find something like that. So liberated people, very rare. Same thing in chapter 7 again, text 3 says same thing. Manushyanam sahastreshu kaschit yatati siddhaya. Tritam siddhanam kaschit me viktatva. Out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, one achieves perfection. Out of thousands of those, hardly anybody knows me. So that same point being made here. Hardly any one of the liberated persons become a pure devotee of the Lord. Okay, so it's very difficult. In nectar of devotion also, it also says, should the prem or a pure devotional service is sudulabha, rarely achieved. So it's not easy. Okay, let's read the next paragraph.
The most elevated Mayavadi philosopher can rise to the platform of liberation, but Krishna Bhakti, devotional service to Krishna, is transcendental to such liberation. Srila Vasudeva explains this fact in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo nirmat sharanam satamam vedayamam vastavam atra vastu asivadamam tapa trapayon moolanam. Completely rejecting all religions which are meant materially motivated, the Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are pure in heart. The highest truth in reality, distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all.
अच्छा हल्दी मानी ना what happened?
The highest truth in reality, distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. Srimad Bhagavatam, the explanation of Vedanta Sutra, is meant for Paramo Nirmata Sharanam, those who are completely aloof from jealousy. Mayavadi philosophers are jealous of the existence of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, Vedanta Sutra is not actually meant for them. They unnecessarily poke their noses in the Vedanta Sutra, but they have no ability to understand it because the author of Vedanta Sutra writes in his commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam, that it is meant for those who are pure in heart. Paramo Nirmata Sharanam. If one is envious of Krishna, how can he understand the Vedanta Sutra or Srimad Bhagavatam? The Mayavadis' primary occupation is to offend the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. For example, although Krishna demands are surrendered in Bhagavad Gita, the greatest scholar and so-called philosopher in India has protested that it is not to Krishna that we have to surrender. Therefore, he is envious. Since Mayavadis of all different descriptions are envious of Krishna, they have no scope to understand the meaning of Vedanta Sutra, even if they were on liberated platform as they falsely claim. Here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami repeats the statement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that love of Krishna is beyond the state of liberation.
Prabhu, you're
Yeah.
mute. Prabhu.
There's some noise in the house, so I muted myself. Anyway, so the point being made here is that the Mayavadis are envious of Krishna because they deny his form and they think they can become Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, second verse of the beginning of Bhagavatam, Vyasdev says, this book is not for those who are envious of Krishna. So Nirmatsaranam means who are not envious. Satam is devotees. So devotees who are not envious of Krishna, it is for them because it rejects anything that's materially motivated religion. So because Mayavadis are envious of Krishna, they cannot understand Vedanta Sutra or Bhagavatam. How can they develop love for Krishna? And because of the envy, simply cannot understand the meaning of Vedanta Sutra. So they talk all nonsense. Even if they're liberated, they still cannot understand because they're starting with the wrong premise, which is the envy of Krishna. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, text 145. Prema hoite Krishna hoy nij bhakta vash. Prema hoite paye Krishna seva sukh ras. The Supreme Lord, who is greater than the greatest, becomes submissive to even a very insignificant devotee because of his devotional service. It is the beautiful and exalted nature of devotional service that the infinite Lord becomes submissive to the infinitesimal living entity because of it. In reciprocal devotional activities with the Lord, the devotee actually enjoys the transcendental mellow of devotional service. So, very interesting point that the devotee actually enjoys. So, we are supposed to be the enjoyer. The devotee is enjoying it because that enjoyment is coming from the enjoyment of Krishna. Because Krishna is enjoying it, devotee is enjoying it. So it's a dependent enjoyment as opposed to independent enjoyment. He's not trying to enjoy it independent of Krishna. His enjoyment depends upon the enjoyment of Krishna, which is providing by his pure loving service, and that is what's called reciprocal relationship. So let's read the purport and we'll explain further.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I read it?
Yogesh, yeah.
Become a purport by Srila Prabhupada, by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Prabhupada. Becoming one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not very important for a devotee. Mukti Swayam Mukhitilanjali Sevate Asman, Krishna Karnamrit 107. Speaking from his actual experience, Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur says that if one develops love of Godhead, Mukti liberation becomes subservient and unimportant to him. Mukti stands before the devotee and is prepared to render all kinds of services. The Mayavadi philosophers' standard of Mukti is very insignificant for a devotee, for by devotional service, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes subordinate to him. An actual example is that the Supreme Lord Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna, and when Arjuna asked him to draw his chariot between the two armies, Senyor Ubhyor Madhye Ratham Sthapya Me Achyutta, Krishna executed his order. Such is the relationship between the Supreme Lord and a devotee that although the Lord is greater than the greatest, he is prepared to render service to the insignificant devotee by dint of his sincere and unalloyed devotional service. Jai.
Yeah, so two main points here. One is the devotee is just not interested in mukti. Even the mukti is standing there with hands folded, begging for service. Begging for service. And he says, I don't care for it. I don't care for it because I am so involved in serving the Lord. And the Lord says, because you're serving me, I'll become subordinate to you. So many examples. One example is being given here with the Krishna and Arjun, Krishna acting as the chariot driver. But when Durvasa Muni showed up, excuse me, at Lord Vishnu's place, running away from the Sudarshan Chakra, and said, I'm surrendering to you, please give me shelter. And he says, Aham Bhakt Paradhino. Nahi eva swatantra, he aswatantra idhuja. He says, I am completely controlled by my devotees. Paradhin actually means I'm a slave. I have no independence. Sadhu has just the hridaya. I've been captured in the heart of my devotees. I have no movement, no freedom. And we also hear when Advaita Acharya was invoking Lord Krishna to come down to the material world, he was worshipping the Shaligram Shila with Ganges water and Tulsi leaf. And same thing, Gautamiya Tantra says, Tulsi dal matrene jalam chulikasya hevja. Vikrinitam swat mahanam. Krishna is saying that anybody who's offered simply Ganga Jal and Tulsi or Shaligram Shila, I sell myself. I sell myself to that person. So sell myself means again I become the slave of that person, no independence. So that's the attitude of the Lord. He becomes submissive, even though he's the greatest of the great. He becomes submissive to the infinitesimal living entity of the soul, just because the soul is performing devotional service. Okay, text 146.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Sambandha abhidhe prayojan naam eitin arth sarv sutre paryavsan. Translation. One's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means activities in terms of that relationship, and the ultimate goal of life, which is to develop love of God. These three subjects are explained in every aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, for they form the culmination of the entire Vedanta philosophy. The whole Vedanta philosophy is dependent upon understanding these three concepts, and we talked about that last week. Sambandha Gyan, Abhidheya Gyan, and Prayojan Gyan. And the purport will again explain that fully. So let's go to the purport. Any volunteers?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay, in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.5, it is said, Para bhavas tavad abhodh jato yavan na jidnasata atma tattvam. A human being is defeated in all his activities as long as he does not know the goal of life, which can be understood when one is inquisitive about Brahman. It is such an inquiry that begins the Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. A human being should be inquisitive to know who he is, what is the universe, what the universe is, what God is, and what the relationship is between himself, God, and the material world. Such a questions cannot be asked by cats and dogs, but they must arise in the hearts of real human beings. Knowledge of these four items, namely oneself, the universe, God, and their internal relationship, is called Sambandha Jnanam, or the knowledge of one's relationship. When one's relationship with the Supreme Lord is established, the next program is to act in that relationship. This is called Abhideya, our activity in relationship with the Lord. After executing such a prescribed duties, when one attains the highest goal of life, love of Godhead, he achieves Prayojana Siddhi, or the fulfillment of his human mission. In the Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra, these subjects are very carefully explained. Therefore, one who does not understand the Vedanta Sutra in terms of this principle is simply wasting his time. This is the version of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.8. Can I complete, Prabhuji?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, I'll just few lines are there.
Yeah.
The dharma swa dharma swa anustitam pumsam vishwa keshena katha so yah no tapadhyaye yadi ritam ratim shram eva hi kevalam. One may be very learned scholar and execute his prescribed duty very nicely, but if he does not ultimately become inquisitive about the Supreme Personality Godhead and is indifferent to Sravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, all that he has done is but a waste of time. Mayavadi philosophers who do not understand the relationship between themselves, the cosmic manifestation, and the Supreme Personality Godhead are simply wasting their time, and their philosophical speculation has no value. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. So again, some very great points are being made. And first point is that the difference between a human being and the animals is that human being has the facility given by the Lord to see, to read, to listen, to inquire, to discriminate right from wrong, etc., etc. So therefore, if we have gotten this rare birth of human being, we should be above all inquisitive. But not inquisitive about what this film star is doing and who's having an affair with whom, but inquisitive about these three things that we talked about, which is what is our relationship with the Lord, who are we, and the relationship, God, universe, material, which is and ourselves, the nature of the relationship. Second is Abhideya, the process for achieving the prayojan, the ultimate goal, which is prayojan. Prayojan is the love of God. So if you're not inquiring about these three things, simply wasting our time. And actually, Vedanta Sutra, the very first aphorism is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Athato means now that you've got the human birth, you should inquire. But inquire about what? Inquire about Brahma, which is God, that the three things that we're talking about. So that's where the inquiry should be there. And it's quoting the very famous verse from Bhagavatam 1:2-8. Dharmasvanishita punsam vishwaksen kathasuya nautpadiyat yadratim shame vikeblam. You could perform all your prescribed duties, but if you're not getting to the point of loving Krishna, it's simply useless labor. So you may think you're being very religious and doing all the pious activities, all sorts of other swadharma, varnashram dharma, etc. But if all that is not taking you to the point of developing love for Krishna, it's useless labor. And therefore, don't waste your time. And then he says, Mayavadi philosophers, because they don't understand that relationship between themselves and God, anything they do cannot come to the right conclusion, and they're simply wasting their time because they'll never come to the point of loving Krishna. Okay, is that clear? Any questions from anyone?
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the previous sloka, I was question, maybe it may not be right question, but it says that mukti, because that word coming, that folded hands and all that is appearing again and again. Now, how to understand? There are two, like bhaktas, like one is the highest level that he just want to serve the Lord. Other bhaktas wants to also serve the Lord in a Vaikuntha. Like they want gone to Vaikuntha. They may not be to the level of devotees, who just want to serve the Lord, where he sends to hell or heaven doesn't make a difference where will he send. So in that context, when you see mukti with standing in front of them with a folded hand, how to understand that?
Yeah.
So are you undermining the devotees who wants to go the mukti, going to the Vaikuntha and serving the Lord?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
So, mukti here means Sayuj Mukti. Sayuj Mukti means merging in the Brahman effulgence, which is the destination of Mayavadis. There's no service there. There's simply a little bit of Anand, bliss, a lot of knowledge, which is all light. So because there's no service, devotees don't want to go there. It's worse than hell. At least in hell they can serve.
Yeah. Understood,
So,
Prabhu.
okay. So then the other four kinds, which is Shashti, same opulence, Samipya in the neighborhood, Salok in the same planet,
Yeah.
right? And Sarup, the same features.
Yeah.
That devotees don't ask for it. Krishna gives it anyway, but devotees don't ask, they only ask for service. And then who goes to Vaikuntha and who goes to Golok Vrindavan? The difference is if you're serving with a pure heart in the mode of awe and reverence, then you go to Vaikuntha. If you go where you don't know Krishna is God, then you go to Golok Vrindavan. So does that answer your question? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. 147. एमत सर्वसूत्रेण व्याख्यान सुनिया सकल सन्यासी कहे विनय करिया. When all the Mayavadi sannyasis thus heard the explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the basis of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan, they spoke very humbly. Okay, so small purpose, I'll just read it. Everyone who actually desires to understand the Vedanta philosophy must certainly accept the explanation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Vaishnava Acharyas who have also commented on the Vedanta Sutra according to the principles of Bhakti Yoga. After hearing the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the sannyasis, headed by Prakashan and Saraswati, became very humble and obedient to the Lord, and they spoke as follows. So this is what's called transformation of the heart. Mayavadis, especially in this particular situation, as we heard, are very puffed up. They think they become Narayan, they think they know all the Vedas and the Vedantas and all those kind of things. They're very proud of their scholarship. And proud people are hard-hearted. But few moments with Lord Chaitanya, who's acting as a pure devotee as opposed to the personality of Godhead, which he is, suddenly their heart is transformed and become humble and very obedient. Obedience comes with humility. So now they are saying, let's see, 148. Vedmaya Murti Tumi Sakshat Narayan Shama Aparadh Purve Jakalu Nindan. Now they're realizing the mistake. They're saying, dear sir, you are Vedic knowledge personified and are directly Narayana himself. Kindly excuse us for the offenses we previously committed by criticizing you. So they're apologizing for the criticism. Let's read the purport. Who wants to?
May I,
can read.
Yeah, please go ahead.
The complete path of Bhakti Yoga is based upon the process of becoming humble and submissive. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Mayavadi sannyasis were very humble and submissive after hearing his explanation of the Vedanta Sutra, and they begged to be pardoned for the offenses they had committed by criticizing the Lord for simply chanting and dancing and not taking part in the study of the Vedanta Sutra. We are propagating the Krishna consciousness movement simply by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We may not be very well versed in the Vedanta Sutra aphorisms and may not understand their meaning, but we follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas, and because of our strictly and obediently following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is to be understood that we know everything regarding the Vedanta Sutra. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, some very basic points are being made here. Bhakti Yoga, you cannot practice that without becoming humble and submissive. Again, I'm talking about pure Bhakti Yoga. I'm not talking about aspiring. So, that's the first characteristic. They're humble, they're not religion, and submissive. They're not trying to say, why should I submit to you, submit to me? So, Stardhaman Paitacha Mamekam Sharanam. They're happy to surrender. And that's what's happened to these sannyasis simply by hearing and associating with Lord Chaitanya. The next thing, when you do an offense against the devotee, what's the best way to counter that offense?
To beg forgiveness from that particular devotee.
Exactly. So you beg
Yes.
for forgiveness, and that's what they're doing. They are begging to be pardoned, to be excused. And then Srila Prabhupada says, look, we meaning not him, we meaning us. We may not understand Vedanta Sutras, but we know one thing. If you follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans, we'll get to the right point, right place, because that's where they have gone. So there's a very famous verse that is spoken by Yudhishthir Maharaj in Mahabharata and quoted by Lord Chaitanya in Charitamrita, actually Madhya Lila, 17:126, I think. He says, Tarko pratishtha shrutiyo vibhinna, nasav rishiyasya matrinna bhinnam, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam, mahajanarjana gata sapant. He says that the Vedas have different opinions on the same thing. And the rishis is not considered a real rishi unless his explanation is different from everybody else's. So basically, they're designed to confuse us. One Veda says one thing, other Veda says something different. One rishi says this thing, other rishi says something different. So what are we supposed to do? He says, well, the real essence of religion is hidden in the heart of the devotees. Therefore, simply follow the devotees' steps. And you get there. It's like hanging onto the coattails of the right person who knows where to go, then you get there. If you ask the wrong person for the directions, you'll get to the wrong place. Right? It's like in India. You never ask direction from anybody because they don't know, they'll still tell you something. They're totally wrong, they'll tell you anyway. Okay? So Mahajana then Gata Sapanta. So follow the footsteps of the Mahajas. Text 149.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
So here in the last few lines, it says that if we strictly and obediently following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is to be understood that we know everything regarding the Vedanta Sutra.
Yes.
So won't this kind of make people feel really proud about that? Oh, now I'm following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhu's footsteps. I know everything, so I can do whatever I like, or they become proud.
If they are fools, they will be proud, yeah. And they fall down. They're not able to follow the footsteps very long. Yeah, it does happen. We've seen the cases. It does happen.
So in that case, if that happens, that means the humility is not there.
The humility is not there. It's ignorance, first of all. Because otherwise, how can you become puffed up if you're really following the footsteps of that? So remember the issue of imitation versus following in the footsteps of. So these people generally start imitating as opposed to following the footsteps of. Because Lord Chaitanya himself said, "Taranadapi sunichena, tarori vasaishvana." If following his footsteps, how can you become puffed up? He says, "Amani naman there." Don't expect respect, give respect. How can you be following footsteps if you're not doing that? So that's the point. That is imitating, not following. Okay.
Thank you.
Text 149. सही होते सन्यासी रे फिरी गेल मन कृष्ण कृष्ण नाम सदा कराए ग्रहण. It's transformation. Look at the transformation. From that moment, when the Mayavadi sannyasis heard the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra from the Lord, their minds changed. And on the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too chanted Krishna, Krishna, always. So having seen their transformation, now Lord Chaitanya is giving them instruction. He didn't give that before. Because why give instruction to somebody who's not deserving? Why give instruction to somebody who's not going to follow it? Why give instruction to somebody who's not going to take the instruction? Because they're so puffed up. Lord Chaitanya didn't say anything. Actually, he acted humble. But once their heart transformed, now Lord Chaitanya is giving the instruction. Chant Hare Krishna. They're doing it. Okay, let's read the purport.
I can read too.
Go ahead, please.
In this connection, it may be mentioned that sometimes the Sahajya class of devotees opine that Prakashanand Saraswati and Prabodhanand Saraswati are the same man. Prabodhanand Saraswati was a great Vaishnava devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Prakashanand Saraswati, the head of the Mayavadi sannyasi in Banaras, was a different person. Prabodhanand Saraswati belonged to the Ramanuja Sampradaya, whereas Prakashanand Saraswati belonged to the Shankaracharya Sampradaya. Prabodhanand Saraswati wrote a number of books, among which are the Chaitanya Chandramrita, Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, Sangita Madhava, Vrindavan Sataka, and Navadvip Sataka. While traveling in southern India, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Prabodhanand Saraswati, who had two brothers, Venkat Bhatt and Tirumalaya Bhatt, who were Vaishnavas of the Ramanuja Sampradaya. Gopal Bhatt Goswami was a nephew of Prabodhanand Saraswati. From historical records, it is found that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled in South India in the year 1433 Sakabda AD during the Chaturya Mas period, and it was at that time that he met Prabodhananda, who belonged to the Ramanuja Sampradaya. How then could the same person meet him as a member of the Sankara Sampradaya in 1435 Sakabda, 2 years later? It is to be concluded that the guess of the Sahajya Sampradaya that Prabodhanand Saraswati and Prakashanand Saraswati were the same man is a mistaken idea.
Yeah. Okay, so basically the point is that they are two different people, not single. 150. Ei mate tasabar chhami aparad sabhakare Krishnam karila prasad. Thus Lord Chaitanya excused all the offenses of the Mayavadi sannyasis and very mercifully blessed them with Krishna Nam. So note one thing, blessed them with Krishna Nam. So if we are taking Krishna Nam, that means we have also been blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise we would not be doing it.
Yes, yes.
I tell you, I know people who couldn't say Krishna in their mouth. Couldn't say Krishna. Even after trying, couldn't say Krishna. So we take it for granted. What's the problem? What's the difficulty? But we are very fortunate. It's like we take our hands and feet and nose and tongue for granted, but many people don't have them or don't have full use of them. So let's not assume that we are entitled to take Krishna's name. No, this is a privilege that we can take Krishna's name. We chant a privilege given to us by the Lord. Okay, let's read the purport.
Prabhuji, may I read?
Please do, Pataji. Go ahead.
Purport. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the mercy incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is addressed by Srila Rupa Goswami as Maha Vadanya Avtara, or the most magnanimous incarnation. Srila Rupa Goswami also says Karunaya Avatirana Kalau. It is only by his mercy that he has descended in this age of Kali. Here this is exemplified. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like to see Mayavadi sannyasis because he thought of them as offenders to the lotus feet of Krishna, but here he excuses them. Tan sabra kshami aparadha. This is an example in preaching. Apani achari bhakti shikhaimo sabare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us that those whom preachers meet are almost all offenders who are opposed to Krishna consciousness, but it is a preacher's duty to convince them of Krishna consciousness movement and then induce them to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Our propagation of the Sankirtana movement is continuing despite many opponents, and people are taking up this chanting process even in remote parts of the world like Africa. By inducing the offenders to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exemplified the success of the Krishna consciousness movement. We should follow very respectfully in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, and there is no doubt that we shall be successful in our attempts. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. So what Prabhupada is saying in the purport, that Lord Chaitanya is simply meeting one of the reasons for which he appears. So Krishna is thinking before he comes as Lord Chaitanya, many reasons given different scriptures. But one of the reasons he says is Tasabar Chami Aparad. I will forgive the offenses of these people, and then what will I do? Apani achari bhakti shikhai mushavare. By my own actions, my own behavior, my own activities, I'll teach them how to perform devotional service. That's one of the missions with which Lord Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya. So he's doing that exactly here. He forgives the offenses of the sannyasis, of Mayavadi sannyasis, and then gives them Krishna consciousness by giving them the holy name of the Lord. And Prabhupada is saying that we are doing the same thing, simply following the footsteps of Krishna, of Lord Chaitanya. And if we keep following that sincerely, we will succeed, and we are already seeing some success. And this is written in 72 or something like that. So now, we have had so much more success. Okay. Text 151. Tabe sab sannyasi Mahaprabhu ke loya, diksha kare lene sabhe madhye basaya. After this, all the sannyasis took the Lord into their midst, and thus they all took their meal together. Now, this is a very honorable thing for the sannyasis to have the opportunity to have prasadam with Lord Chaitanya. You get sadhu sangha and the prasadam, and you get to enjoy it along with the Lord. That's a real privilege. And these guys got it because of their association with the Lord. So read the purport.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Previously, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had neither mixed nor talked with the Mayavadi sannyasis, but now he took lunch with them. It is to be concluded that when Lord Chaitanya induced them to chant Hare Krishna and excuse them for their offenses, they were purified, and therefore there was no objection to taking lunch or Bhagavad Prasadam with them. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that the food had not been offered to the deity, Mayavadi sannyasis do not worship the deity, or if they do so, they generally worship the deity of Lord Shiva or the Panchopasna, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Durga Devi, Ganesha, and Surya. Here we do not find any mention of the demigods or Vishnu, and yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted food in the midst of the sannyasis on the basis that they had chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and that he had excused excused their offenses. Hare Krishna.
So this is a very good example of how a preacher makes sacrifices and makes exceptions to the rule to achieve the purpose of converting people into Krishna consciousness. And so here these are offenders, but the Lord transform their heart and made it softer, so they become humble. They beg for forgiveness for their offenses, and the Lord excused them and gave them Krishna. So therefore, even though this is not prasad because it's not been offered to the Lord, and Mayavadis don't offer because they don't believe in the form of the Lord. At best, they do Panchopasana, which is the worship of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Lord
Durga.
Ganesh, Durga, and
Ganesh.
sun god, Surya.
Surya.
So, but again, they don't believe in the deity form. So some of them are demigods. Anyway, if you go by the logic of ordinary people, ordinary devotees, you should not be taking it. But Lord Chaitanya is taking it for the reason that he has already excused them, is encouraging them to become Krishna devotees. 152. भिक्षा करी महाप्रभु आइला वासा घर हेन चित्त लीला करे गौरांग सुंदर. After taking lunch among the Mayavadi sannyasis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaur Sundar, returned to his residence. Thus, the Lord performs his wonderful pastimes. I mean, it's amazing that you can change the heart of hardcore Mayavadis just from few minutes of discussion and association. 153. Chandrasekhar Tapan Mishra Ar Sanatan Shuni Dekhi Anandit Sabakar Man. Hearing the arguments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seeing his victory, Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra, and Sanatan Goswami were all extremely pleased. So these are the devotees who were with Lord Chaitanya. He was living in the house of Chandrasekhar at that time. And Tapan Mishra used to invite him to his house for prasadam every day. And of course, Sanatan Goswami was there. He got his instructions from Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi. So they were all there. They were very happy to see what's going on. Let's read the purport.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Mataji, go ahead.
Here is an example of how sannyasi should preach. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Varanasi, he went there alone, not with a big party. Locally, however, he made friendship with Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra and Sanatan Goswami also came to see him. Therefore, although he did not have any friends there, due to his sound preaching and his victory in arguing with the local sannyasis on the Vedanta philosophy, he became greatly famous in the part of the country, as explained in the next verse.
Yeah, his fame just exploded, as we explained in the next verse.
Yes.
154. प्रभु के देखते ऐसे सकल सन्यासी प्रभुर प्रशंसा करे सब वाराणसी. Many Mayavadi sannyasis of Varanasi came to see the Lord after this incident, and the entire city praised him. So now everybody wants to see him. Varanasi, 155. Varanasi Puri Aila Shri Krishna Chaitanya Puri Sah Sarolok Hoil Mahadhanya. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the city of Varanasi, and all of his people were very thankful. Why wouldn't they be? They're seeing the Lord. 156. Laksh laksh lok aise prabhu ke dekhite mahabhir hail dware nare praveshite. The crowd at the door of his residence was so great that it numbered hundreds of thousands. 157. Prabhu jabe jaan vishweshwar darshane laksh laksh lok asi mile se isthane. When the Lord went to visit the temple of Vishweshwar, that's Lord Shiva, hundreds of thousands of people assembled to see him. So let's read the purport.
Can I, Prabhu?
First, go ahead, Mataji.
The important point in this verse is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly visited the temple of Vishweshwara, Lord Shiva, at Varanasi. Vaishnavas generally do not visit a demigod's temple, but here we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly visited the temple of Vishweshwara, who was the predominating deity of Varanasi. Generally, Mayavadi sannyasis and worshippers of Lord Shiva live in Varanasi. But how is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who took the part of a Vaishnava sannyasi, also visited the Vishweshwara temple? The answer is that a Vaishnava does not behave impudently towards the demigods. A Vaishnava gives proper respect to all, although he never accepts a demigod to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Should I continue, Prabhu?
So let me explain this first.
Okay, Prabhu.
So this is the point here. In ISKCON especially, we have these discussions. Oh, you cannot worship demigods, you cannot go to demigod temple, you cannot accept Shiv Prasad, and all those kind of discussions go on. But here's Lord Chaitanya visiting the Lord Shiva temple, right? And the explanation being given is that a Vaishnava says, look, give respect to all, amani na mande. And the demigods are very special people. They are devotees of Krishna, but they're not Krishna. They're not the same level as Krishna. So to consider them as good as Krishna is an offense. A second offense of his holy name is to consider them equal to or independent of Krishna. But they are very respectful entities. And they are devotees. They may not be pure devotees, but they're devotees. So therefore, we should offer them our respect. And Lord Chaitanya is just doing that. Okay. Next paragraph, please.
In the Brahma Samhita, there are mantras offering obeisances to Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, the sun god, and Lord Ganesha, as well as Lord Vishnu, all of whom are worshipped by the impersonalists as Panchopasana. In their temples, impersonalists install deities of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, the sun god, goddess Durga, and sometimes Lord Brahma also. And this system is continuing at present in India under the guise of the Hindu religion. Vaishnavas can also worship all these demigods, but only on the principles of the Brahma Samhita, which is recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We may note in this connection the mantras for worshipping Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Goddess Durga, the Sun God, and Ganesha, as described in the Brahma Samhita.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry,
Instead
Prabhu.
of going with all that, just the first one is about Durga Devi, second one is Lord Shiva, third is about Sun God, fourth is about Lord Ganesh, and finally it's about the Sun God. So instead of going through the other, we can read Brahma Samhita. But the point is that in all of these, Krishna is the supreme. So, for example, if you go back, the first one, it says, Ichhanu Rupam Api Asya. She's working, which is Durga is working under the direction of Lord Govinda. In the next one, Lord Shiva, and says, Lord Krishna appears as Shiva for a specific purpose, but still he's the Lord. Next one is the Sun God. And again, same thing, saying that because of this, sorry, this is about Brahma, I'm sorry. And again, Brahma has been given certain powers to run this material world by Govinda. Next one is about Lord Ganesh, who has been given power by Lord Nrsimha. The next one is about the Sun God. He's been given the power by Govinda Mati Purusha. So all these demigods have been given their powers by the Lord. So therefore, he's the supreme and they're the servants, but they are superior to us. Okay?
Prabhuji, may I ask a question here?
You may,
So
sure.
you mentioned Durga Devi. So what is it? Is there any relationship between the Devis and Sri Radha Rani? Because she is the Hladni internal potency of Krishna. So are they also related to Krishna's internal potency?
No, how did you get that impression?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking.
No, absolutely not. So Durga is the external potency, the first verse.
Okay.
Shiva, Shiva Tattva, which is different from Shakti Tattva, Jeev Tattva, or Vishnu Tattva, right?
Yeah.
That's why the yogurt example is given. Then Bhaswan, the Brahma, again, he has been given powers to run the material world. And Lord Ganesh, he gets his power from Lord Nrsimhadev, right?
What about the other devis? There are so many other goddesses.
All the demigods, except Lord
Yeah.
Shiva,
Yeah.
are actually you and me who get promoted to a demigod position because of our pious activities.
Okay. So they have nothing to do
They are Jeev
with the
Tattvas. Except
Hladini
for
potency.
Lord Shiva, they are Jeev Tattvas.
Okay.
You
In the
could be a
material
demigod
world.
next birth if you wanted to be. But I know you want to be devotee, so you won't. But those
Yes.
who want to be, they perform pious activities, fire sacrifices, with the simple goal of becoming demigod in the next.
Yeah.
So these
Prabhuji,
all Jeev Tattvas.
may I ask another question? It's slightly unrelated, but I can ask at the end or now, whatever
If
you
it's not
prefer.
related, let's wait until then.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, just remember it because I'll forget.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Usha.
Yeah. So, Prabhu, the Durga, goddess Durga, isn't it the Yogmaya?
No, Yog Maya is the
When
internal
Krishna,
potency.
so isn't she Yogmaya actually
No,
when
that's what I'm saying.
Krishna was being born?
No, Durga is Mahamaya, which is the external potency. Yog Maya is Yog Maya. So I think what you're referring to is when Vasudev took Yog Maya
Yeah.
to Mathura. So somewhere between Vrindavan and Mathura, Yog Maya changed her form to Durga, Mahamaya. Because Kansa cannot touch Yog Maya, its internal potency. So therefore, whom he touched was external potency, Durga. And she appeared in the form of Durga. But that's external
Yogmaya
potency, not
appeared in
internal
the
potency.
form.
Okay?
And some people say that Durga, yes, I understand it. Durga is the sister of Krishna.
Well, it's not sister in the strict sense, like she's not born as a sister, but she's his potency. So you can call her whatever you want, sister, daughter, whatever. But as his potency. They don't have same mother, that's what you mean. Yogmaya, you could say, because she did appear from the womb of Mother Yashoda, but not. Mahamaya is the reflection of Yogmaya, a shadow of Yogmaya. Okay?
Prabhuji, can I? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Prabhuji, as you had told us earlier, all the Lakshmis and the queens of Krishna, the expansion of Radharani, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah? So, but not Durga and all. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Not at all. Okay. Raghav, you saying something?
Yeah. One question. Two questions actually. One. Subhadra is the sister of Krishna and Balaram. Very basic question. Is she who was
Yeah,
she was
she's Yogmaya.
Yogmaya.
Correct.
But Yogmaya was also in Vrindavan Lila time when Krishna was.
That's right. Yogmaya can be anywhere.
Okay.
Like Krishna
Also,
is.
Also, just a general question. Like Lord Shiva is, like many times, like considered the top devotee of Krishna, of Narayan. So why is it that it's so like we shouldn't be encouraged to or like worship Lord Shiva, to like ask for like mercy of Lord Shiva for Lord Krishna, like the same way we approach other great devotees. Not that's something I've you should be encouraged, right? To ask.
Totally encouraged, and it is encouraged, but to worship him as top devotee, not as supreme personality of Godhead. That's the difference. Worship him as devotee is totally encouraged. Beg him to give you love of Krishna. Totally encouraged. But to worship a Supreme Personality of Godhead, no, that's totally discouraged, was not correct.
Okay.
Okay? Gayatri, you've been very patient. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just in terms of the demigods, like when you listen to, you read the Krishna Lila book, or you read the Bhagavatam, you get, any of the Krishna Leelas that are going on when he kills the demons, the demigods are showering flowers from the heavens, and they're watching all these things. We have like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu associating with these Mayavadis, and they're chanting Krishna's name and they're becoming devotees. And then you have the demigods that are watching Krishna Leelas. How are they not becoming devotees?
Well, they are devotees, but because they have so much luxury, so much opulence, so much enjoyment, they get distracted, therefore they're not pure devotees. They get attached to their position, their beauty, their wealth, their enjoyment, and so therefore they're not pure devotees.
So even if they come in association with the Lord, they don't have that transformation, even though they come in association.
Correct. That's because they don't want to give up the attachment to their own position. Like look what Indra did so many times.
Yeah.
Right? Even Brahma got illusion, even though they're all watching.
It's kind of sad because it reminds me of like Duryodhana, and how he was also somebody who couldn't be turned, even though Krishna
he didn't want to be turned. Krishna will not turn you forcibly. He'll encourage you, he'll give you hints, he'll show you pastimes, but you still have to do it yourself. Otherwise, it's not free will.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Lord.
All right. Sorry, Saraswati Mataji? Sorry. Sorry, somebody say something?
After Saraswati Mataji, I can see Mataji.
Okay, all right.
Hare Krishna, pranams. I just wanted to share about just continuing with Lord Shiva and how some people argue that, well, Lord Ramchandra, he worshipped Lord Shiva Rameshwaram. And I was listening to a class by Srila Prabhupada who said, well, Krishna used to pick up the slippers of Nanda Maharaja and put it on his head. That doesn't make Nanda Maharaja the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Exactly.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Usha, were you saying something? Somebody want to say something? Okay, all right, let's move on. So read the paragraph next after the verse, after the translation of the verse. All the demigods are servants of Krishna.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
All the demigods are servants of Krishna. They're not equal with Krishna. Therefore, even if one goes to a temple of the Panchopasana, as mentioned above, one should not accept the deities as they are accepted by the impersonalists. All of them are to be accepted as personal demigods, but they all serve the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shankaracharya, for example, is understood to be an incarnation of Lord Shiva, as described in the Padma Purana. He propagated the Mayavad philosophy under the order of the Supreme Lord. We have already discussed this point in text 114 of this chapter. Tanara dosha nahi tena agya karidas. Shankaracharya is not at fault, for he has thus covered the real purpose of the Vedas under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Lord Shiva in the form of a Brahmin, Shankaracharya preached the false philosophy of Mayavad, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu nevertheless said that since he did it on the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there was no fault on his part.
Yeah. So,
Dharana daya nahi.
Yeah, so basically, again, we explained that the Lord Shiva was ordered by Lord Vishnu to do this because of Buddhism had to be stopped. So the authority of the Vedas had to be covered. And Lord Shankaracharya did exactly that. And the second point is that the demigods are not equal to Krishna. the servants of Krishna. And we cannot ever forget that. Whether we talk about Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or any other devotee. Okay, next paragraph, please. Anyone?
Probably I can read.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. We must offer proper respects to all the demigods. If one can offer respects even to an ant, why not to the demigods? One must always know, however, that no demigod is equal to or above the Supreme Lord. Ekelek Ishwar Krishna Arasab Pritya. Only Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all others, including the demigods such as Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Goddess Durga, and Ganesh, are his servants. Everyone serves the purpose of the Supreme Godhead, and what to speak of such small and insignificant living entities as ourselves? We are surely eternal servants of the Lord. The Mayavad philosophy maintains that the demigods, the living entities, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are all equal. It is therefore a most foolish misrepresentation of Vedic knowledge.
Right. So again, demigods are servants, we are servants. Akala, Ishwar, Krishna are Sabhita. Everybody, including all the other incarnations of Krishna, they have servitual relationship with Krishna. Krishna is the only master. Therefore, for anybody like Mayavadis to say that no, we are all equal is totally foolish. Okay, text 158. स्नान करते जब जार गंगा तीरे तहाई सकल लोग होए सा महाभिड़े. Whenever Lord Chaitanya went to the banks of the Ganges, take his bath, big crowds of many hundreds of thousands of people assembled there. So now Lord Chaitanya has become famous, so everybody's following him. 159. बाहुतोली प्रभु बोले बोलो हरि हरि हरिध्वनि करे लोग स्वर्ग मर्त भरी. Whenever the crowds were too great, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood up, raised his hands, and chanted Hari Hari, to which all the people responded, filling both the land and sky with the vibration. That's what a good preacher does. You see a crowd, you get them to chant Krishna's name. Lord Chaitanya is doing the same thing. Hari Hari, and everybody's going Hari Hari. Even when he appeared on the day of his appearance, everybody's going Hari Hari, because he arranged for the lunar eclipse. When people are supposed to say that. The Muslims were saying that, atheists were saying that, of course, the devotees were saying that, pious people were saying that, and now he's telling all these hundreds of thousands of people who are following him to chant Hari Hari, which is his mission. Text 160. Lok nistariya prabhur chalite hail man Vrindavane pathaila shi sanatan. After thus delivering the people in general, the Lord desired to leave Varanasi. After instructing Sri Sanatan Goswami, he sent him toward Vrindavan. So we'll read about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya instructing Sanatan Goswami in Madhya Lila, chapters 21, 22, 23. But here's been mentioned that after that, he instructed Sanatan Goswami to go to Vrindavan. Let's read the purport.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please go ahead, Diti.
The actual purpose of Lord Chaitanya's stay at Varanasi after coming back from Vrindavan was to meet Sanatan Goswami and teach him. Sanatan Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after the Lord returned to Varanasi, where the Lord taught him for 2 months about the intricacies of Vaishnava philosophy and Vaishnava activity. After completely instructing him, he sent him to Vrindavan to execute his orders. When Sanatan Goswami went to Vrindavan, there were no temples. The city was lying vacant like an open field. Sanatan Goswami sat down on the bank of the Yamuna, and after some time, he gradually constructed the first temple. Then other temples were constructed, and now the city is full of temples, numbering about 5,000.
Yeah. So yes, so Lord Chaitanya instructed Sanatan Goswami and sent him to Vrindavan. Does anybody remember what was the instructions? What instructions were given to Sanatan Goswami when he goes to Vrindavan?
To
revive all the.
Sorry, to look for Radha Kun and Shyam Kun?
So to what?
To look for Radha Kund and to search Radha
Okay.
Kund and Shyam
Okay.
Kund?
Partly correct, yeah.
To revive all the Lila Stalis of Lord
Yes,
Krishna.
to revive all the last list, which includes Radha Kushankut. Yes. What else? To open new temples, like it says here, there were no temple. What was the temple that Sanatana Goswami built?
Shri Radha Madan Mohan.
Yes. So that's number 2. What was the number 3 instruction? Write books.
Yes.
So you wrote many books. Those are 3 main instruction. A 4th secondary instruction was to take care of the devotees in Vrindavan who have nothing to eat. So Sanatana Goswami used some of the money he had saved to take care of these devotees, that order cows and have the prasadam prepared for them and feed them. So those are 4 instructions that were given to Sanatana Goswami, and then Rupa Goswami, same thing. And then sent to Vrindavan. So what was the temple that Rupa Goswami built?
Govinda Mandir.
Yes, yes. Good. Okay. Text 161. Ratri divase lokera shuni kolahal Varanasi chari prabhu aila nilachal. Because the city of Varanasi was always full of tumultuous crowds, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after sending Sanatan to Vrindavan, returned to Jagannath Puri. Now he's gone back to Jagannath Puri. 162. यही लीला कहिबे आगे विस्तार करिया संक्षेपे कहिलाओ यहाँ प्रसंग पाइया. I've here given a brief account of these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, but later I shall describe them in extensive way. So Madhya Lila, Anti Lila, they talk in a lot of detail about this. 163. यही पंच तत्व रूप श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य कृष्ण नाम प्रेम दिया विश्व कैला धन्य. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the Panch Tattva distributed the holy name of the Lord to invoke love of Godhead throughout the universe. And thus the entire universe was thankful. So they distributed freely love of Krishna. And the whole universe was very thankful for getting the highest award, reward, achievement that exists. That's the love of Krishna. This is the purpose.
I'll do Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Here it is said that Lord Chaitanya made the entire universe thankful to him for propagating the Chaitanya Sankirtana movement with his associates. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already sacrificed the entire universe by his presence 500 years ago. And therefore, anyone who attempts to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sincerely by following in his footsteps and following the instructions of the Acharyas will successfully be able to preach the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all over the universe. There are some foolish critics who say that Europeans and Americans cannot be offered sannyasa. But here we find that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtana movement all over the universe. For preaching work, sannyasis are essential. These critics think that only Indians or Hindus should be offered sannyasa to preach, but their knowledge is practically nil. Without sannyasis, the preaching work will be impeded. Therefore, under the instruction of Lord Chaitanya and with the blessings of his associates, there should be no discrimination in this matter. But people in all parts of the world should be trained to preach and given sannyasa so that the cult of Sri Chaitanya movement, Sankirtana Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtana movements will expand boundlessly. We do not care about the criticism of fools. We shall go on with our work and simply depend on the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, the Panchatattva. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, Srila Prabhupada is basically given the proof that you follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and follow the instructions of your acharyas, like your guru, then the success is guaranteed. And he proved it. And he also saying that Lord Chaitanya says the whole universe includes non-Hindus and non-Indians. Therefore, they should be preached also. And sannyasis have easier time traveling because they don't have attachments to the family, the house, and property, and other worldly business. So they are more free to travel than go to other places and preach to the world, which is what basically happened. Srila Prabhupada said, I didn't care about the criticism of my of people in India who were saying that Europeans and Americans should not be turned into sannyasis because Lord Chaitanya said, go ahead and do it. So because I'm following the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, following his footsteps, success is guaranteed, and he proved it. Okay, text 164. Mathura te pathail rup sanatan dui sena prasikail bhakti pracharan. Lord Chaitanya dispatched the two generals, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, to Vrindavan to preach the bhakti cult. Okay, purport? Can you read this?
Prabhu, I'll read. Hare Krishna.
Oh yeah, please, go ahead.
Purport by Divine Srila Prabhupada Ji. When Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami went to Vrindavan, there was not a single temple, but by their preaching, they were gradually able to construct various temples. Sanatan Goswami constructed the Madan Mohan temple, and the Rupa Goswami constructed Govindji temple. Similarly, the nephew Jeev Goswami constructed the Radha Damodar temple. Shri Gopal Bhatt Goswami constructed the Radha Raman temple. Shri Loknath Goswami constructed the Gokulanandan temple, and Shyamananda temple. Goswami constructed the Shyamasundar temple. In this way, many temples were gradually constructed. For preaching, construction of temples is also necessary. The Goswamis not only engaged in writing books, but also constructed temples because both are needed for preaching work. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the cult of his Sankirtan movement to spread all over the world. Now that the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has taken up this task of preaching the cult of Lord Chaitanya, its members should not only construct temples in every town and village of the globe, but also distribute the books that have been already written and further increase the number of the books. Both the distribution of the books and the construction of temples must continue side by side in parallel lines.
Yeah, thank you. So it's easy to understand why printing and distributing books is important for preaching. But why are the temples so important? Any thoughts? Because people say, well, I have deities at home. So why do I need to come to the temple? I can serve them there. And they're not different. You can't argue with that. So why construct temples?
Because Krishna Katha,
For
Ram
devotee
Katha are very
association?
important temples.
Okay, so one at a time, please, so I can hear.
Because Prabhuji, Krishna Katha, we get to hear Krishna Katha and Ram Katha in the temples.
Okay.
And for devotee association, this is the way we can
Yes.
associate with.
Yes. So devotee association, hearing the katha, you don't get that at home.
Prabhu, even deities attract.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Yes.
That,
That is
but why is devotee association so important?
So that we can stay on the path.
Exactly. Somebody says that it's our support system. When you're in doubt, when you are wavering, you may have a risk of falling down, the devotees support us. They encourage us. You know, it's like in my tennis playing days, sometimes I'll be lazy. I say, I don't want to go today, because I was playing at 7 in the morning. But my friends will call and say, no, you have to come. Then I'll go. The same thing. Sometimes you get lazy in chanting, lazy in service. But the friends call and say, no, you have to come. So very important. Okay.
Sorry, bro, sorry.
So Raghav, go ahead.
No, I think Prabhuji is saying something. Or asking
And
something.
Prabhuji, for prasad distribution, Prabhupada ji wanted prasad distribution.
Yes.
It will be done through the temple to attract more devotees.
Yes, absolutely right. Okay, Raghav, go ahead.
But before, just a historical question, like 500 years ago, before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis establishing the main temples in Vrindavan, were the people in Vrindavan who are Brajvasis mostly, were they not uh, very Krishna centric at that time, 500 years ago? Just historically, just curiosity.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So there was a period of approximately 200, 250 years when Krishna consciousness almost disappeared. And even at the time of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, that was the problem. People were very Kali Yugi centric, and they were into demigod worship, they were into impersonalism, they were into making up their own religion, all that. And even in Vrindavan, it was not very prominent service. So that's they sent these people to revive all that. Because after Vajranath, which is almost 5,000 years ago, nothing much was happening.
Okay, thank you.
165. Nityananda Gosai Pathaila Gaur Deshe Deho Bhakti Pracharila Asheshe Visheshe. As Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami was sent toward Mathura, so Nityananda Prabhu was sent to Bengal to preach extensively the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? Somebody read the purport, please.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The name of Lord Nityananda is very famous in Bengal. Of course, anyone who knows Lord Nityananda knows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. But there are some misguided devotees who stress the importance of Lord Nityananda more than that of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is not good. Nor should Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be stressed more than Lord Nityananda, the author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, left his home because of his brothers stressing the importance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu over that of Nityananda Prabhu. Actually, one should offer respect to the Panchatattva without such foolish discrimination, not considering Nityananda Prabhu to be greater, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be greater, or Advaita Prabhu to be greater. The respect should be offered equally. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All devotees of Lord Chaitanya or Nityananda are worshipable persons.
It's when we start to use our intelligence independently, we go wrong. So the fact is that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, Nityananda is Lord Balram, non-different. Therefore, Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya are the same, non-different. Dvaitacharya is also Vishnu Tattva combined with Shiv Tattva. No, I'm sorry, I just said it wrong. They're both Sadashiv and Mahavishnu are Vishnu Tattva. So he's Vishnu Tattva as well, and therefore non-different. And the point is, you should not try to distinguish. You should certainly not try to say one is more important or one is more greater than the other. Those are all offensive things. They're all great, they're all equal, they're all our Lord. We simply beg to them. Yes, you can say I'm more inclined to Lord Nityananda because he's more merciful. He'll hold me by the ear and throw me at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. Will pick me up by my ear, throw me at the feet of Radha Krishna. That is okay. That is okay, but you're not saying one is greater than the other, or worship only Lord Nityananda, not Lord Chaitanya, or worship only Lord Chaitanya, not Nityananda. That is wrong. All right. Shalini Mataji, your question.
So, Prabhuji, pardon my ignorance here. I'm going to ask another basic question.
Uh-huh.
So, when we pray to Lord Chaitanya, when we pray to Lord Chaitanya,
Yeah.
what should be the bhava? Because he doesn't like being prayed to as Krishna, and as a devotee, he doesn't like if he's prayed as Krishna because he's in the mood of Radharani, right?
Correct.
So, and Prabhupada we see him as a pure devotee and pray to him. What should be the bhava towards Lord Chaitanya?
The bhava should be that Lord Chaitanya I am worshipping you. I know your identity. You are Krishna in the mood of Radharani. And you have appeared here to deliver ignorant people like me.
Yes.
We come here to distribute freely without considering the qualifications. To that distribution freely the love of Krishna. So please ignore my disqualifications, ignore my offenses, and please grant me love of Krishna. But you worship me directly with Lord Chaitanya.
Perfect. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Okay. All right. 6. आपने दक्षिण देश करेला गमन ग्रामे ग्रामे कैला कृष्ण नाम प्रचारन. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to South India and he broadcast the holy name of Lord Krishna in every village and town. 167. सेतुबंध पर्यंत कैला भक्तिर प्रचार कृष्ण प्रेम दिया कैला सबार निस्तार. Thus the Lord went to southernmost tip of Indian peninsula known as Setubandh, Cape Comorin. Everywhere he distributed the bhakti cult, the love of Krishna. In this way, he delivered everywhere. So wherever he went, all the way to the tip of the country, which is Kanyakumari, Setubandh, and everybody was converted to Krishna consciousness. 168. यही तो कहेले पंच तत्वेर व्याख्यान इहार श्रवणे होय चैतन्य तत्व ज्ञान. I have thus explained the truth of the Pancha Tattva. One who hears this explanation increases in knowledge of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this reading has been really good for us to better understand Lord Chaitanya. Let's read the purport. There's only 2 more verses that ends the chapter. So let's finish it. Anyone wants to read the purport?
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
The Panch Tattva is very important factor in understanding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are Sahajiyas who, not knowing the importance of Panch Tattva, concoct their own slogans such as Bhaj Nitai Gaur, Radhe Shyam, Jap Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, or Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Shri Radha Govinda. Such chants may be good poetry, but they cannot help us to go forward in devotional service. In such chants, there are also many discrepancies which need to be discussed here. Strictly speaking, when chanting the names of the Panch Tattva, one should fully offer his obeisances Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gautama Bhaktavrinda, by which chanting one is blessed with the competency to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offense. When chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one should also chant it fully. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should not foolishly adopt any of these slogans concocted by imaginative devotees. If one actually wants to derive the effects of chanting, one must strictly follow the great acharyas. This is confirmed in Mahabharata. Mahajano yena gata sa pantha. The real path of progress is that which is traversed by great acharyas and authorities. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So key points are: don't twist the facts, don't twist the teachings, don't make your own interpretation of the teachings. Follow them as it is. And so therefore, those people who break the Hare Krishna mantra in different parts and mix with the other bhajans, not recommended, actually offensive. It's not good. And they will not get us to the love of Krishna. And therefore, do what the acharyas have said. And if you do that, Mahajanodyangatas Panta, you will get to the destination simply by following them. Text 169. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Tinajan Shivas Gadadhar Adi Jata Bhakta Ganam. While chanting the Panchatattva Mahamantra, one must chant the names of Shri Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Shivas with their many devotees. That is the process. So don't try to break them. Don't take only half of them or 3 of them and go somewhere else. The whole mantra, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Gaur Bhaktavrita, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrita. Okay, 170. Sabakar Pad Padma Koti Namaskar, Jache Haite Kahi Kichu Chaitanya Vihar. I again and again offer obeisances unto the Panchatattva. Thus, I think that I'll be able to describe something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Krishna's Kaviraj being so humble, but trying to make sure we get the point. He's saying, I will succeed only by again and again offering obeisances to all five. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi. All five of them. And the devotees. Okay, 171. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is also following in the Acharya's footsteps. This is the purport, then we finish this.
May I, Prabhu?
Please go ahead.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtana movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world, and therefore, during his presence, he inspired the Sankirtana movement. Specifically, he sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami to Vrindavana and Nityananda to Bengal, and personally went to South India. In this way, he kindly left the task of preaching his cult in the rest of the world to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The members of this society must always remember that if they stick to the regulative principles and preach sincerely according to the instructions of the Acharyas, surely they will have the profound blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and their preaching work will be successful everywhere throughout the world. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 7th chapter, describing Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So the main point here again is that we have to have the blessings of Lord Chaitanya for our preaching to be successful. And the way you get the blessings of Lord Chaitanya is to simply follow the regulative principles strictly and preach sincerely according to the instructions of the Acharyas. So follow the 4 regs, do your chanting, and preach. Preaching can be by distributing books, it can be by giving classes, it can be by distributing prasadam, it can be by simply going door to door and talking about Krishna. The specific process is not so important, but the point is that preaching must be done under the directions of the Acharyas. And for that to be successful, our sadhana has to be strong. We have to be very strict about the relative principles, and then simply depend upon the blessings of Lord Chaitanya, which we will get if we do those things. Thus end chapter 7. And in at least my position, this volume. So we go to the next volume. You may have differently. And we'll do the chapter 8 next time. Just wanted to point out that we started in July last year. Chaitanya. So it's been 9 months just to go to 7 chapters. And so I just wanted to make sure that you're all okay with this speed, because last night somebody was suggesting that maybe you should do 1 chapter a week. So again, your decision. I'm a servant, I'll follow whatever you tell me. It's going too slow for you, and you want to do 1 chapter in a week, or you want to go through the details we're going.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, so Prabhuji, so last 7 chapter, lot of philosophy, lot of tattvas were there. I think it took time. As you go forward, lot of other descriptions, and even the philosophy is there, but there are more other details, right?
That's very true.
Possibly we'll pick up the speed there. This is what, but philosophy, understanding the base was very important, what we stand for as ISKCON, right? So this is where it was there. This is what I understand, Prabhuji.
Okay, no, thank you. Thank you.
Prabhu, this is good. This is going really good.
Okay. As long as you're not getting impatient, and oh my God, 1 year to 7 chapters.
That's okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes. This is perfect. Whatever it is.
You're making us understand, Prabhu.
Yeah.
You're making us understand.
Yes. It's very helpful that way.
That's more important.
Okay. Now,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Ruchira Mataji?
I just wanted to say that I might miss some classes for a month or so. So if I could request you to upload the recording of that week before the next class happens, so that if in case I think I can take the class, I know what you discussed in the last class.
No, that's good, Mataji. I agree. Sometimes it gets so busy around here that I don't get a chance to do that, but I should be more careful, and I try my best.
Okay, Prabhuji. That's all, Prabhuji.
Sure, okay. I'm going to stop the recording, but I think there's some other questions.